Hi, Grace.
Hi, I
Hey,
don't know why. I'm sorry I wasn't turned on. I apologize.
That's okay. That's how I feel every
no
morning
problem.
when I wake up, so it's fine.
All right, so Grace Randolph, Beyond the Trailer.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So I gotta
Sure.
say, do 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 do
Yes.
do do do. Like that's like really freaking iconic. When you guys got the gig, what was your reaction to expand on that?
I
Oh,
mean,
we were super
yeah,
excited.
yeah, very
Yeah.
excited, very terrified though, also. Like, very excited, but then quickly followed by like, oh, we have to do this. Like, what are we gonna do? And what if we fail? Like, oh boy. Yeah, yeah, that whole situation. Yeah, but very exciting, super fun.
When you get a job like that, are you like how did you approach it? Were you like, let's just like keep it as close to that as possible? Or are you like, because I mean the music so far has been like integrated so perfectly and seamlessly into the show.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the actual I think is rather than it's funny enough, we exhaust it until into failure almost is where we push it to. We try so many different things to see what will work, what won't, and that will sort of lead the roadmap to where we need to end. And in this case, it ended up being what you hear today, which there's subtle changes and things that are different, but we wanted to keep the heart of the original, which was such a great piece of music, and that's kind of where we landed.
From a music perspective, how would you define that original theme song? Like, is it very like 90s or is like what's the core of it?
Oh, it's hard to say because it's wrapped up in my head as like the 90s, but really it's just like it's a ripping piece of music, It's just like awesome. And I think that it sort of transcends like the sounds are of the time, but I think as you produce it in different ways, it can be all sorts of things. Like I think that if you had like a contra bassoonist play it with a timpani player very quietly and moody, it could be a whole like indie film that like wins the Academy Award, Like I feel like there's so many different ways it could be done. And we've explored a lot of those ways. Not the way I just mentioned, but that actually now that I'm saying it sounds like a good idea that we might have to try. But we
Season
did.
3, baby.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But trying I think it's just an iconic piece of music that works in all the different like Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. Like you could play that in a whole bunch of different styles and the song just works. Like it's a great piece of music. Similar thing.
That's awesome. I gotta ask, who are your favorite X-Men, each of you, and why?
Oh boy.
You gotta
As
pick one.
as I was telling someone else that it's constantly evolving and changing. But if I had to pick right now, right this second, it would be Magneto and then Storm. And Magneto because I just really love sort of where he comes from and where he is now. And I think just the just amount of tragedy and his sort of constant conflict and battle with humans and mutants and how he feels about it is it's just sort of like it relates a lot to today actually, and just what happens in everyday life. And then with Storm, I think it's just like she's finally getting this moment to shine as the goddess that she is. So as a fan, I've been waiting for that moment for a while. So those are my two characters.
Yeah, and mine is real boring, but it's Beast. And I like Beast because there's just like a pragmatic, like, let's get in the lab, drink a bunch of coffee, and analyze what's going on and let everyone know, like, this is what, even if it's all going to go out the window and everything's going to get foobarred, like, at least we know, like, we know the sort of layout of what's happening. And I enjoy that. Like, it's very calming, all of his scenes. So I love that. What about you, Grace? If
Well, I
you
have
have
to
to pick
say, I
one.
think Beast would appreciate music, so that's a nice choice. He would really
Yes.
like
That's
lick
true.
the score.
Yes, yes, you're right.
That's
I didn't
true.
even, you're right. That's a good call.
I've always been a big Rogue fan,
Oh,
um,
yes.
Sure.
but
He's
I really
amazing.
liked the latest episode with Jubilee. I thought that was really great, upgrading her powers and everything. I thought that was really, really nice.
Yeah, that was a fun episode too. Like it's just there's a lot to that episode, like with the story and just it's really wonderful. Yeah.
Well, speaking of episodes, no spoilers, guys. But are there any episodes coming up that were like particularly fun from doing the music standpoint?
Um,
Um,
Go ahead, Taylor.
yeah,
You have one. I know I really enjoyed working on episode 6. I really enjoyed all the episodes, but for me personally, episode 6, 9, and 10 were episodes that I probably enjoyed the most.
What are they a little bit about? Again, no spoilers, but like, can you just like be like, oh, tease it a little bit?
Um, it's about I don't
I
think
don't want
I
to get you in trouble. Well, who's in it? Can you say who's in it?
no, I can't because that ruins it too.
All
Um,
right, that's fine. I won't get you in trouble. I don't want to do that to you.
no, I
What were the
want to tell
numbers?
you.
Episode 6? What?
Yeah, for me, 6 and 10. But we should do this again in a few weeks, and then we could talk
I,
about it. Like we
I
should
think,
absolutely.
yeah, I think, nine and 10 are just epic in sense of scope.
Ooh.
8, 9, and 10, yeah. But there's something that happens in 9, particularly for me, that is just shocking. And there's all kinds of changes and shifts in the show that are someone else might be like, oh, I can't believe that just happened. But for me, something in 9 happened that I was in shock of.
You
So
guys are killing me. I love it. It's gonna be
I
great.
know. We want to tell you it, but it's fun. I will say this, like Taylor and I would experience these things every week, and we'd be like, no, wait, what? What's that? Like, because it's so dramatic, like in the best
Well,
way.
crazy dramatic.
well, tell me this. What's it like being like in the Marvel vault?
Um,
It's
oh, it's good that Taylor and I are a team because we can talk to each
Oh,
other.
that's right.
Yeah, because
yeah.
You're
that's
not in
great.
there
Because
alone.
yeah, without that, I don't know. I'd probably just be like on the ground in the fetal position, like shaking, like I need to tell somebody about what's happening in this next episode. But Taylor and I would get like animatics from the Marvel team, and then we call each other like, dude, did you watch that? Like, no, I haven't watched it yet. Don't tell me anything. Like, I'll call you back. And it was fun to experience it that way.
That's awesome. The last question I want to ask you is that composers these days are getting more attention than ever from film fans, and the field is rapidly expanding. Back in the day, it was like three dudes. That's it. They've scored everything, and that's the only people who got name recognition. But
Yeah.
now the field, so many people, like you guys did Five Nights at Freddy's. Mike Flanagan, a lot of his stuff. Like, it's fantastic. What do you think about the respect that the field is getting these days?
I think it's great that just anytime any artist of any kind obviously can work in an area and get recognition for creating something that people have general appeal for. It's always inspiring, and I think other people who go to see these things, they can recognize like, oh my God, I really love the music. Just like I know Andy and I, when we both watch Star Wars or ET or wherever it may be, you love with that stuff, and it gets you pumped, that music. And so it's nice to know that like people go, oh, that's actually that's a job. It's like that's someone does this, they put music and does, so it's nice to know that it's getting seen, but I think for a long time it's been very, very much respected by a lot of the directors and producers. And I think because when you're going into making film music, it's such an it's such an egoless thing because you're really there to help make this thing that this entire team is made. So it's just a sliver of what you're contributing to this whole thing. And I think that when everyone is succeeding, or the director or the actors, it's always too. It's like you're succeeding too. So it's nice to have that sort of win across the board.
Yeah, and I can quickly add to that. Like Taylor and I went to this pre-Oscar event with the music and music teams and composers that were nominated this year. It was really lovely. And John Williams spoke for a moment, and he came up there and just basically like I had just been complaining to someone like, oh, I just came from work and I'm going back to work tomorrow and it's Sunday and blah blah blah. And then John Williams gets up there and he's like, like we put in a lot of hours. We work weekends, we work late nights. And he's like, and it's at the service of the music that we write, and how lucky are each one of us. And I was like, oh my God, he just punched me in the throat and was just like, stop your crying, you're lucky, like be grateful. So it's that sort of like was a nice reminder of what we do. So it's nice to see everyone starting to sort of shine in their own areas. It's fun.
Well, congratulations again on such a sweet gig and many sweet gigs. And I can't wait to see those episodes. You guys did a great job teasing.
Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Grace. I really
Chris.
appreciate you. Thank you.